He was riding as attendant to Henry at the time. However thoughtless Henry may have been in slapping the steed, the horse should not have reared like that." Then Robert ran one hand over his eyes and added, his voice sharp with anger, "Hewel will be sorely missed." An accident seemed a reasonable enough explanation, Thomas thought. Nonetheless, Sir Geoffrey's overheard remark about Henry's soul finding a place in hell suggested that there might be more to the tale, perhaps something omitted that would explain why this particular horse had bolted. Indeed, from Robert's manner of telling the story, Thomas suspected that he did not believe the servant's death had been an accident at all. The Lord Henry seemed uneasy lest others think he was in some part to blame for what happened, he said, curious to see how Robert would answer. "The Lord Henry believes that he, not God's created earth, should be the centre of the universe. Whether the matter be good or ill, he cannot bear to have attention focused away from himself." An interesting reply, Thomas thought. It carefully evaded addressing whether carelessness, accident, or even a deliberate act had caused the death of the servant. And the woman who so grieved over Hewel? Is she sister or wife? "Widow. In a fortress full of soldiers she will not remain long without a man, but they did have young children together. Henry may not have dropped one coin into her hand, but his father has a more generous spirit, nor would we let them starve. Nonetheless, even the promise of food in their bellies and a warm enough hearth will not chase the bitter chill of their father's death from the hearts of those little ones this winter season." Thomas nodded in silence as he turned to look at Robert's future brother-in-law. Henry was standing with the two women who had been part of the tragic morning ride. At this distance the colour of his face seemed to have cooled, but he was waving his hands with animation. Thomas bent his head in the direction of the Lavenham air. "Not even a coin? Has he always been such a brutish man?" "Since childhood," Robert snapped. Then he shook his head. "Forgive me, Thomas. My anger over this cruel death has unbalanced my humours and chased all impartiality away. A good man Hewel was, and one of my brother's companions, as well as a loyal servant. Indeed, they often jested about their shared names, despite the difference in their station and ancestry. I dread sending this news to my brother while he's in the midst of a war. Hugh will grieve deeply, as do we all." Robert hastily rubbed his eyes as if dirt had flown into them, but Thomas knew the cause was tears, not dust. "It is true," Robert continued. "Henry and I have never gotten on, even when we were but children together. He has always had too much choler, yet he would never face anyone in a fair fight. When men are faced with differences, I do believe they must live with those they can and exchange honest blows when they cannot. Yet had Henry been a monk who must turn the other cheek, I would have acknowledged his courage. Instead, he attacks in deceitful ways." Robert fell silent, then added, "Perhaps it is enough to say that I have never liked Henry. Had his younger brother George been on this ride today instead, I do believe Hewel's wife would be kissing her husband's warm lips now, not bathing his dead face with her tears." There was no mistaking the bitterness in his tone. "Pity the latter is the second son, then." Robert nodded, but he seemed distracted. "And Sir Geoffrey?" Thomas had been watching the older man stroke his horse's neck with the rounded stump of his arm, then bend to give instructions to a groomsman for the stabling of the animal. As the horse was led away, the knight put his left glove into his mouth and yanked it off with clumsy impatience. The leather glove fell to the ground. The knight muttered an oath as he bent down, swept the glove out of the muck, and jammed it under his belt. An unexpectedly angry gesture for such a minor mishap, Thomas thought. Was the loss of his hand recent? "He is the father of the Lady Juliana and her two brothers. A fine knight, far more a man than Lord Henry will ever be. You see he has lost his sword hand. A sad thing. In the de Montfort rebellion? Not in battle."